The Greek Prime Minister has said that Athens was ready to make efforts to reach a viable deal to end the crisis, as Eurozone leaders set a Sunday deadline to thrash out a final bailout agreement. European leaders gave Alexis Tsipras a last-minute chance on Tuesday after he failed to present them with a detailed plan in an emergency summit in Brussels. The Eurozone summit was called after Greek voters rejected international creditors' bailout offer in a weekend referendum. The ruling leftist Syriza party led by Tsipras campaigned against its lenders' offer that called for more austerity in exchange for rescue loans. The Greek side will continue the effort, having the strong weapon of the Greek people's verdict, the vast majority's will for a viable agreement to end the discussion about a Grexit and offer the prospect of finally exiting the crisis, Tsipras told reporters after the emergency summit of Eurozone leaders. Tsipras addressed the European Parliament in Strasbourg on Wednesday where he said the government will continue with reform efforts. We have to put on the table an agenda for growth. We must be able to look reality in the face and find solutions. The proposal by the Greek government for funding of its obligations and the restructure of its debt is not designed to provide extra buttons to European taxpayers. The greatest response by the Greek people at the time when there were such pressures with the banks closing, with the campaigns and the media terrorizing them into feeling that this is an end to talks with Europe and to negotiations with Europe, Tsipras said. I think that they stood up and we have to listen to what they say. This was a courageous choice by the Greek people and this is not a decision of breaking negotiations with Europe. In the first step of its renewed bid for funding, Greece's government must submit detailed reform plans by Thursday, EU President Donald Tusk said. All 28 European Union leaders will then examine the plans on Sunday in a make-or-break summit that will either save Greece's struggling economy or could lead to its exit from Euro. Tonight I have to say loud and clear, the final deadline ends this week, Tusk told a news conference. Inability to find an agreement may lead to bankruptcy of Greece and insolvency of its banking system, he added. Grexit scenario. European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker warned we have a Grexit scenario prepared in detail if Greece failed to reach a deal, although he insisted he wanted Athens to stay in the Euro club. A Greek government source also said that a new pitch would be made over the next 48 hours, and that Athens has made improvements to the proposals for a bailout deal made to its creditors last week. Greece last week defaulted on a $1.8 billion repayment to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and on July 28, it faces a huge payment of $3.8 billion to European Union institutions. Tsipras has insisted that instead of a Greek exit, Greece's creditors will now finally have to talk about restructuring the country's massive €240 billion, $267 billion, debt to them. German Chancellor Angela Merkel meanwhile warned Greece would need a debt program lasting several years and insisted writing off any of Greece's debt mountain was out of the question. The situation remained dire in Greece, where liquidity-starved banks are unable to open until Thursday at the earliest. Athenians awoke yet again on Tuesday to the bleak reality of closed banks and more lines at cash machines for their daily withdrawal limit of €60, $67, amid dread the ATMs could soon be running empty. Meanwhile, the European Central Bank, which has been keeping Greek lenders afloat, has said it will maintain emergency funding to Greek banks until Sunday.